This program is sponsored by Dave Stahl.
Power on. Get ready. Power on.
It's time to take your place on the starting grid and get ready for Racer Radio. Your host, Dave Stahl, about to take you for a white-knuckled lap around the motorsports industry, covering everything from top-notch national drivers and crew chiefs right down to your local kid racers and racetracks. Watch for the apex, because here comes Racer Radio with Dave Stahl.
All right, folks, welcome. This is Racer Radio, Hour 3 on KCBQ AM 1170. FM 96.1, The Answer. All right, we got a special guest on the line. I'm just going to call this guy Mr. Dwarf Car, Mike Grenert. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How you doing, Dave?
So you've been doing this a while, according to Brittany.
Yeah, this is year number 21 for me.
Wow. What got you into the car?
You know, I was racing modified midgets, little 600 cars, and with a buddy of mine. I was mostly pitting for him, but I got to hop in it a couple times. But a good friend of his had a dwarf car and got in a motorcycle accident and asked me if I wanted to race the car for the rest of the season, and I got in it once and I was hooked.
I know. That's why everybody keeps saying, Dave, go ahead, try one. Come on, I'll put you in one. Come on. No. Because I know what will happen. I will end up.
Oh, you'll go buy one the next week.
I know. I do it. I mean, it's terrible. But I tell people it's the best bang for your buck, hands down. It's as close to go-karting as you can possibly get. As long as you don't wad it up, I mean, you can get through a season for a minimal amount of money.
Oh, yeah. The initial investment, depending on the quality of car you buy, can be kind of pricey, compared to some other classes. But the weekly upkeep on them is really minimal. Even if you wad them up, you're talking, a few $100 and they're back on the track.
Yeah, I mean, things when you do mix it up with somebody else, the parts and pieces just basically break or bend, and then all you have to do is unbolt them and put new ones on. So where's your home track?
So I kind of have three home tracks. I run in the NorCal Dwarf Car Association. We run up here in Northern California. Our four primary tracks are Placerville, Marysville, the Silver Dollar in Chico, and the Stockton Dirt Track. Okay.
Well, it's good that you still got tracks up there. I mean, we're only down to one down here at Verona.
Yeah, we're fortunate up here. I believe we counted them up. There's 11 tracks within 2 hours of the house that are still operational. So we're very fortunate for that up here.
Yeah, no kidding. That's awesome. So I heard through the grapevine something about virtual dwarf car racing. You want to talk about that?
So it's not really dwarf car racing, but it is virtual. I've had the iRacing simulator for about probably going on 2 years. I've had it. And I've noticed that a lot of guys who own dwarf cars had them. So I had the wise idea the other night to post it on our Western States Dwarf Car Association page if there was any interest for a race. And it was really overwhelming. It was the first night we ran they don't have dwarf cars on iRacing, of course, but they have the legend cars, which are close looking.
Right.
They handle nothing like a dwarf car.
No.
And it's they're kind of like you're driving on ice the whole time. They don't get much traction anywhere. Unlike a dwarf car, you can set them up to get some pretty good traction.
Sure.
So that was not really a good event per se. The track was slick and a lot of people spinning out, a lot of cautions. I think we had more time under caution than we did green flag laps. But last night, we went to a little bigger track, and we had the midgets, and had 31 dwarf car drivers and midgets, and that was a much better race.
Gotcha. Well, it's funny you should say that because, NASCAR just picked it up last Sunday was their first race at Homestead, and it was kind of a crash fest, and it was so funny because you got to see all the NASCAR drivers and all their different simulators, and the winner raced barefoot, which just makes no sense at all when it comes to motorsports. But this week, I don't know if you watched it today, but it was a lot better. I mean, there weren't as many crashes. They seemed to figure out the simulator thing. But these simulators, they've been around for 30 years. In fact, at 3:45, I'm interviewing one of the gentlemen that started the simulator program about 30 years ago, and we're going to do an interview with him. And I think it's just, it's a great way to go racing. I mean, all it costs is the price of a simulator, and it really makes you a better driver when you do get into your car.
Oh, absolutely, But sometimes that price of a simulator, you could almost go, depending on what you want, you could buy a simulator that costs you as much as a new car and racing it all year.
Well, Denny Hamlin's, I think, costs like $15,000. But then there was a couple other guys that had the tabletop ones and had the pedals, and what are you talking about? $1,000, $1,500, maybe $2,000?
If you just got it sitting on a table, you can probably get. You can get it as cheap as by the time you get it, because you have to have a pretty decent computer to run it.
Right.
But you can buy a set of brand new Willen pedals. I can't remember the exact brand. But there's some pretty economic ones out there that you can probably get for under $400. So you're probably sitting $1,500 for the entry level stuff.
Yeah.
By the time you go some of the bigger names in the belt drive or the direct drive.
Oh yeah.
And like for instance, I've got the VR headset. I started out with one monitor. Then I saw somebody with triple monitor, so I went and bought those, and then I put somebody's VR headset on, and then I had to go buy one of those. So it can definitely get pricey quick, but I like the VR. I like the feeling like you're really in the car. You turn your head and you see what's beside you, where with triples or a single screen you can't. But that's what I prefer, the VR, and fun stuff.
Yeah, and I really think if especially with this. This virus floating around, we don't know how long it's going to be before we'll be able to get back in cars again. To me, this is a great way to stay sharp, stay on top of it. I personally like VR as well over a computer screen. I've done some VR work, not racing, but I've, with car manufacturers, there's been a couple of companies that have used it to launch new product, and I like it. I mean, you got to buy a good VR system. There's no doubt about it. But boy, once you do, man, geez, it's really, really, really good. And people are actually, I know people that have been racing on iRacing forever, and they absolutely. My brother, he races all over the world and never leaves his house. So if you like, racing's racing. Come on,
Yeah, it's one thing that's. I think I almost say it's almost different for dwarf car drivers, because while we go to the racetrack to race, we really go there to visit our friends, and racing just kind of happens. But really, we're a very tight-knit group with the dwarf car community. Amongst a lot of other racing communities, you'll see the guy there and his pit guy. Most of the teams in dwarf cars, you'll see the guy and his family there, whether it's, the kids out there scraping mud, or or the kids racing and the dad scraping mud, or mom. But it's really it's family sport. I think that's what makes it fun for us,
right?
And that's kind of what we're missing with this virtual thing. But as I was on Discord with a bunch of people last night, you can hear all their families in the background. They're still got all their families behind the simulator. So it's kind of cool, kind of get that family feeling back to it. Hopefully we won't be in this social distancing world forever.
Yeah, well, it won't happen forever. We'll get this straightened out. So how'd you do last night since you raced?
So it started off really not good. I think I qualified decent. I think I qualified 5th or 6th, and then I went to go grid up for the heat race, and my computer froze up. So I had to restart everything, and I was the host of the race, so I was trying to do all that stuff at the same time. So that didn't really work out well. But I missed my heat race. Started, I started in the back of the B and finished 3rd in the B. Put me starting, I think, 19th in the A, and I worked my way up to 4th. But it was almost just like being at a normal event. The cream of the crop rose to the top.
Jeez.
Two past Western States champions, Ryan Diotti and Ryan Winter, they ended up 1-2. Mm-hmm. They were just in, I won't say another area code for once. So we were actually on the same straightaway as them, unlike in real life, where we're usually on the opposite straightaway as those two.
Right.
But, it was fun, but it was just definitely, it's kind of neat to see that, you'd think sometimes these young kids that, do nothing. Well, I won't say do nothing, but they have a lot of time on their hands to play a simulator.
Right.
You'd think they would be right there, but no, the two, I won't say old guys, but they're definitely not the kids of the sport anymore. I think they're somewhere either plus or minus a couple years of being 30 or over 30.
Yeah.
But they were 1-2 all night long. One of your locals down there, Darren Brown, he just got his simulator a few days ago, and I think he ended up right behind me in fifth. So, yeah, definitely some good talent out of that area.
That kid just can win. I don't care. Put him in a simulator for 2 days. You need to handicap that boy. Put a yellow sticker on the back of that car and tell him you need to start in the rear. Knowing him, he'd still come to the front. Hey, buddy, this is great talking to you. I would love to have you call back and kind of let us know how the series is going, because I know it's a series you're running. You just started, so all our racer fans from Verona listen to the show. So hopefully, when's going to be your next race?
So I think we're going to do every Friday and Saturday night while we're in this COVID-19 lockdown.
All right. Well, call it the COVID-19 race series, and we'll see who comes out, and we'll have to come up with a funny-looking virus for a trophy at the end of the series.
There you go.
Got to keep humor in it, my man. Got to keep humor in it. Hey, thank you very, very much, and hats off to Brittany for setting this up. This is an awesome interview, and thank you, man, and stay safe.
All right. Thank you, Dave.
All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Racer Radio, FM 96.1, AM 1170, The Answer.